Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Tim, take your mask off.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to the show. Applause, applause, applause.
I took my mask off before I came on stage, so as to not portray weakness.
I didn't want to infect everybody on the way up to the stage.
Oh, you have COVID, huh?
That's not a funny joke.
Well, then why did you make it? Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
And let me be the first to say, Broadway is back, baby!
I was expecting a bigger pop from that.
Not big Broadway fans, I guess.
Hey, Tom, I should mention,
Yes.
not only are we doing this show for hundreds of people
Yeah,
here in New York
it,
City.
It just keeps going and going, huh?
I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of our live stream viewers,
Yeah.
tens of thousands of them throughout the world. And tonight, for the first time ever, we're broadcasting to the International Space Station. Can we bring them up?
Tim told me before the show, he's like, I was trying to find a clip of people on the International Space Station because I wanted to like throw to that, you know, like they did in the Emmys or the Oscars in 1992. It's a real shame we couldn't find that footage.
Do you
Tim, it
guys
would've
know how
killed.
they used to do that on the Oscars when Billy Crystal would be like, we're broadcasting out to the space station, and then they'd show the guys floating around like, they'd like give them a statuette to play with, maybe.
Yeah, sure, maybe they did. I don't know. It wasn't a good part of the Oscars, and it certainly wouldn't have been a good part of this
It
show.
made a big impression on everybody, I think.
Everybody might have been like, this isn't very funny, but they're watching it on the space station.
Decades later, we're all still talking about it.
Tim, are you going to do your standard disclaimer at the beginning of the show?
Yeah. Hi, is there anybody here
Are you going to do the show like that the whole time?
masked up and covering my eyes? I haven't been out of my apartment
I know.
in fucking 2 years. These
Actually, that brings up a very good point. Bear with us. This is the first time me and Tim have talked to anybody else or in front of anybody else.
Hey, speaking of which, let's have a warm welcome to Marika. Get out here, Marika.
Hey!
You guys remember Marika? She used to be on the show before we didn't have to. You're gonna keep
And there
walking?
she goes.
All right, she's gone. She's gonna be mad in the live stream.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry. Just gonna vamp, Tom.
Backstage, when Marika came backstage, Tim was like, I've seen you recently. We haven't seen Marika in 2 years, and I don't know why he would have thought otherwise.
Oh, we saw her at the park or something.
At the park? Why? When are me and you
Because we
just
can't go in
walking
restaurants, Tom.
When are me and you just walking around the park and then rang into Marika?
Tom, have we hung out in the park?
Oh, they've put the table on stage
Hell
against
yeah.
Marika's wishes, but
Thank you.
pro our wishes. Does Marika? You have a you got a mic.
Is it on?
How's everything going, Marika?
It's going all right.
Are you so excited to be a part of this show? Are you so excited that we were like, yeah, we'll put you on the list, and then when you came, we were like, you have to sit on stage.
That's what I get for asking for
Yeah.
tickets, so it's
Look,
fine.
you haven't seen us in 2 years. You haven't even made an effort to meet us in the park when we're going on our walks.
It's true. I like that you have to look backwards at me.
It makes for good video.
Yeah. Which I'm watching at the same time. So
How does
Wow.
it look?
looks great.
Are you framed correctly?
At the moment, no, it's just Tom. We have to talk about it.
Perfect. They got
Tom
my
paid off
tip.
the staff, yeah.
Marika is our, well, I don't know what tense to use, present or past engineer.
I would assume past, because this is the first time you see me in 2 years.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And now Marika's on a podcast of her own that has a show October 22nd, I heard, on Marika's birthday.
Marika's birthday, from what I understand.
Yeah. Marika thinks she's a real big shot now on her own podcast.
I don't.
But we've shown her by putting her up on stage. Tina,
If you hate this, you're really going to hate your show where you're the center of attention.
Yeah.
Tim,
Oh,
your,
yes.
your standard
I'm sorry. Is there anybody here? I'm just going to do this because I'm looking. Hey, by round of applause,
You can do it this one time. I'll allow it.
who is not familiar with our podcast? You? What are you doing here? Hello. Oh.
The way you said that was like, my mom went to Florida, so anything goes. We're going to the complete guide to everything. Oh, okay. Are you the fan or your mom?
No, me.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to be a fan of something to go see it live. I think that's
Yeah, you
That's
kind of
pretty-
do. That's why you
that's
would
an
buy
assumption
it.
you're
How
making.
many things do you
Tom's
go
like, "Are
to?
you in love with me?"
How many things do you go to that you're not a fan of?
I get dragged to a lot of. She'll
Yeah.
tell you.
I mean, besides this.
Is there anybody who is a fan of the show, by round of applause, Books the Podcast?
Wow, that's broken the applause-o-meter.
Yeah, except for these two goofballs in the front.
Yeah, they've got shirts on, but they don't subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, we got to do a plug. Books the Podcast is a Patreon exclusive podcast. Yeah, patreon.com/complete guide.
Yeah?
We cover books by authors like George Orwell, Louisa May Alcott,
Yeah, we did, who?
Mary Shelley, yeah.
That's one.
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson, yeah. The famous author.
They, our patrons were like, "Can you cover more books by authors of color?" And then Tom,
No, not Tom.
anyway, we're gonna. It's mostly an OJ podcast.
Yeah. Well, we were.
You'll love it. We're gonna cover Marcia Clark's book, Cato Kalin's book,
Does Cato have a book?
a coloring book.
Ooh, sick burn.
Yeah. Hey, Cato Kalin's so dumb. Do kids today know who Cato Kalin is? Are there kids here?
Yeah, I hope there's not kids here.
Go on
Yeah,
record
we
saying, I'll
read-
never read a book that Cato Kalin
We read
wrote.
O.J.
I don't even care if this guy does pay us to read it.
We read O.J. Simpson's If I Did It recently. I read it. It makes a compelling case that he did murder his ex-wife. Very, very compelling case.
Yeah, that's. I did my thing that you wanted me to do.
Yes, thank you. Tim, we've got more business to cover up top. I don't know if...
I know you guys all wanted us to cover the topic.
Yeah.
People are always like,
End of
"Get to
world."
the topic."
People are like, great, I can't wait to finally go to a live show in New York City again. Live theater. Oh, it's about the end of the world, the thing I've been afraid of for the last 2 years. Great.
Do you think one person in this room has referred to this show as theater at any
Live
point?
theater. Yeah. I have. I'm a person in this room. But you kind of like, you're such a fucking weirdo. Now that we're on stage, I can say this. Where like you didn't disclose until, thankfully you waited for a paid podcast to disclose that, ladies and gentlemen, Tim's going to be a father soon. I don't know why I said you're such a fucking weirdo. You didn't tell strangers the moment you found out. You told me. I knew all along. I probably knew before you knew. But you waited until a paid podcast, and you mentioned at the end. By then, everybody's asleep. But you are going to be a father.
I wasn't going to say anything. I got drunk, and then you ran with it.
That's how your wife got pregnant? I don't understand. I don't understand the sequence of events here. Yeah, you're going to be a father probably this month, it seems like. Because that's the thing, too. I feel like you disclose that, and people are like, oh.
Who the fuck cares? Who cares
No, I
about
think
that?
a lot of people probably thought when you said.
This guy that shouldn't be in charge of a life is going to be in
Yeah.
charge of a life.
A lot
It's
of
more
people.
tragic than
A lot of people probably thought when you first announced I'm going to be a dad that you had just had sex for the first time, and it was like, yeah, maybe 9 months from now there's going to be a baby. But you had announced it when long after the fact.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have a baby soon. Tim, how do you feel about from now on the podcast I call you daddy?
I don't want that to happen at all. I feel bad about that. Please don't.
What? I'm trying to think of. I have a couple of different.
Yeah, you told me that you had like nothing prepared for the show, and I was mad at you.
Yeah.
And then it turns out you were just been like writing sex jokes about me.
You think that joke was written? Tim, do you know what you're going to name the baby yet?
I do not.
Can I offer a suggestion?
I know what it's gonna be.
You should name your baby Tom.
I'm not gonna name my baby Tom. After you?
After me, after Tom Arnold, I don't know. There are a lot of Toms floating around out there.
There are a lot of Toms. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Tim Jr.? No, right?
No. Is anybody here a junior?
Oh, what am I doing? There's a junior right here that I forgot about. This is a recent sonogram, if I'm not mistaken. We also recently read the novelization of the movie Junior on Books of Podcast. Like we said, we're very literary. We like to read the
You guys are gonna
classics.
love it.
So no Tim Jr.
No, no juniors here. I think it's arrogant, right?
Arrogant? Yeah, like, I don't know. I have the same name as my dad. Like, my dad was a Tom, my grandpa was a Tom, but we all have different middle names.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that really helped anything. That just made things more confusing. Because then when I was a kid, I answered the
Middle
phone.
names mean nothing. Everybody's making a big deal about middle names.
Yeah.
Sick of it.
All right, so make the middle name Tom.
Consider
You
it.
could even like put it in like quotes, like, yeah, it's Tom.
Oh, it's sarcastic.
Yeah. So then
Yeah,
the
I named my son fucking Tom. Yeah, right.
So that when the teachers are eventually doing roll call, they'll know to roll their eyes when they, when they're like Tim, Tom.
Went to high school with or all of school. I don't know why I need to. I went to school
As specific as possible,
with
please.
a kid named Ryan.
Uh-huh.
Turns out his first name was George the whole time. He went by his middle name, Ryan.
Yes, that's
And a
what.
substitute teacher would always come in. Substitute teachers, they'd come in, they don't know what everybody's called.
Yeah.
And so they're just reading names, and they'd be like, George. And he'd be like, it's Ryan. Why would I go by George? He's mad about it.
Do you think for I can see the screen from here, and the live stream people must just be dropping like flies. People are heading to the doors. Well, that's why middle names are important. Because if you don't like your first name,
Because
you
this
can go.
one kid thought George was such a ridiculous name that he couldn't be called George.
Do you think the worst part of being a substitute teacher is doing that initial roll call? Where like you're gonna mispronounce names, you're gonna say first names that people don't go by, and everybody's gonna laugh.
No, I think it's like
You can take all the time you need.
I just don't think it's bad being a substitute teacher. I think it's a pretty good gig.
don't-
None of them gave a shit. That one guy was drinking beer in his car.
First off, he was drinking whiskey and he got fired for it. We had.
Sorry I didn't talk for so long. I was imagining my life if I had become a substitute teacher, and it looks pretty sweet.
Being a substitute teacher is easily the worst job in the.
Who cares if some fucking 12-year-olds respect you?
You care, Tim. If a 12-year-old clowned on you, I wouldn't see you for a month. You would just go hide. If some 12-year-old was like, nice glasses, that would be it.
Marika, has any chatter in the chat?
Yes.
Thank you.
What about the name Lil Tim?
Lil Tim? Like
Yeah.
Lil Penny?
Not Lil Penny, Lil Tim.
Yeah, like Lil Penny?
Like Lil Penny, the little penny
Was-
to your penny.
Was Lil Penny Penny Hardaway's son?
I think he was just
Like an
a
outgrowth
marionette,
that they
Yeah,
chopped
got rid
off,
of,
and he was like,
or
I'm sentient.
like a clone. Yeah.
Lil Penny, it's not a reference that
Tim,
anybody.
move off, fucking Little Penny. Nobody knows who Little Penny is. Lil Tim. Here's some other names that I have
It
that
was
I
a
wrote
big
down.
campaign, ad campaign that ran during the 1992 Oscar ceremony. International Space Station crowd.
Billy
hated
Crystal loved
yeah.
it. What about, instead of Tim, Jim?
Nah, I don't want to name that.
What about Slim?
Slim.
Yeah. And then that way you can, casually fat shame your offspring all the time. Because if they're slim, they're going to need to stay slim or else it's going to be ironic. You want to like give your child like a deep-seated hatred of you as early as possible, right?
Let's move on.
What about Larry?
I can't name my kid after one of the Stooges. Even like, who is was Larry the least ridiculous?
Larry was the one that was just like kind of along for the ride, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like a normal guy that got caught up with
Yeah, and
with an
wouldn't you like-
asshole and a real fucking dunce, right?
Yeah. Wouldn't you like that for your son? Tim's having a son, by the way, if I didn't make that clear before. Wouldn't you like your son to be like,
To fall in with an asshole and a dunce?
yeah, but he's not the asshole or the dunce. He's just.
What do you think of Marika's parents think?
Tim, the last name I have, and look, I'm going to be upfront. I don't know what the name means. I had a dream about it, and I wrote it down in the middle of the night. What if you named your son Big City Herman?
Explain the dream?
It was just that you had a baby and you were like, I knew you were having trouble finding a name, and you were like, we figured out the name. The name's Big City Herman because he lives in New York City, and that will
It's a big
follow him
city.
around. It'll help him a lot in like business meetings later in life. He's like, hello, Big City Herman.
I could see naming my kid Herman
Yeah.
after Baby Herman in
Or Herman's Head.
yeah. I'll shortlist Herman, but
All
not
right.
Big City Herman.
All right. Well, look, if you guys have ideas for the names, especially even the live chat, not especially the live chat, but even the live chat, feel free to throw them out there because Tim legitimately does not have a name for his child, and
The thing is,
I don't-
when
well,
you're thinking of
I
a
don't want-
classic boy's name,
yeah.
there's a jerk for every name.
Yeah, well, you have either like common names or uncommon names. And then the uncommon names, it's like, well, like there might be a fictional character named after the, or like a famous person. Or then, I mean, me and you, we have, very common names, Tim and Tom. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a bunch
Tim's a
of people.
little less common than Tom. It's a little more interesting.
But I mean, there's probably people that like we know that wanted to name their kid Tim or Tom, and they were like, "Oh,
Ah,
don't be
that
like that
fucking
asshole."
guy, yeah.
Yeah. Every time I call my kid for dinner, I'm gonna be thinking about this.
Can you take that off?
It's stuck, I think.
Mm.
So, all right, we'll keep the name thing
You don't
going.
have to.
Tim, I just
My
don't.
wife
I
and I
don't
are
want. I don't
perfectly
want your
capable of-
baby to be named Thing or It or something awful that you'll be like, "Oh, it's fine. It's a name." They put it on the birth certificate. I'm looking out for you and your wife. I wish you'd start realizing that. Now, Tim, I also understand. Oh, that's it.
You know what? They're right. I'm fine with it. Are you fine with it?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Everybody saves face, cuts their losses, goes home.
Tim, I also understand that you like how I'm setting all these things up like a talk show. No,
Yeah.
I've seen here.
I understand you went to a carnival with your family recently, and something unusual happened on the Ferris wheel.
You're probably going to be taking time off from the podcast, right?
I hope so.
Well, I'll have to run it by HR, but yeah.
What are you gonna do when I'm gone,
Boy, Tim, what am I gonna do when you're gone?
Marika?
Yeah.
You want to be a scab?
I don't think so.
How about having Marika come in and take my place?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Sure.
He doesn't seem that excited about it.
I think he's mimicking my excitement, so it's only fair.
Well, Tim, I have some ideas for like a Tom-centric show that I would run in your absence, just like a hiatus thing.
You're gonna like, hey, let's make it like Joe Rogan, right? Sounds a big Joe Rogan head.
I'm not gonna make it like fucking Joe Rogan. I don't know why you love to.
You are always talking about Joe Rogan.
No.
You're like, no, I only listen to the interesting guests.
Yeah, it's true.
The intellectual dark web. Tom, you love the intellectual dark web so much.
The show's not gonna be like Joe Rogan,
about
but it is gonna be a little bit different. Now, Tim, you might be asking yourself, what's the Tom Reynolds experience going to be like that takes the place of the Complete Guide to Everything while you're on leave?
You're gonna interview Milo. It's gonna be your big thing.
Was it Milo the dog or the cat?
Milo and Otis, yeah.
Sorry, Tim, I don't keep up on white supremacists. First things first, the first change, more ads. Just ads all the time, Tim.
Yeah.
I'm earning for 2 at this point.
You're actually.
Are
Are you gonna keep all the money that the show
Yeah, I'm gonna
generates?
keep.
It's
No,
not
I'm gonna
much.
give the money to somebody that's not doing any work. Second one, way more phony phone calls.
I get behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem with that.
Man, call up pizza places, give funny names. It's probably
Have you
not.
ever successfully executed a good crank call?
Yeah, when we used to call into Value Vision, which was like QVC or Home Shopping Network when we were kids, and we would just call in. It was great because we were all like 13, so we all had very high-pitched voices. So you could call in and pretend you were like a woman in her 50s in the Midwest, and they'd be like, "Well, it sounds like you are. Sure, go ahead." And then you'd just be like, "I want to talk about the product." And then you talk about the product on air. A lot of times it wasn't even a prank. It was just like, I really love these bracelets. And they'd be like, what do you love about them? You'd be like, I love how shiny they are. And they'd be like,
Yeah,
well,
that's not a good crank
know.
call.
but Tim, I was on television. It's called being famous. So more calls like that. Just calling in.
Regular phone calls where you're trying to impress people.
Not even impressed. Just trying to pull one over on the Home Shopping Network
moving,
people. Some big rule changes to the show. Eating is okay during the show.
Oh no!
It's fine when you're on the
always
show with
like,
me.
hey, do you think we should chew gum and like eat steaks during the show?
Yeah, so people know we're tough guys.
Yeah.
More violence.
Audio violence?
Whatever, man. I mean, right now I feel like our show has very little violence, and violence
Kind
sells.
of emotional violence, I would say.
This will have like John Wick style violence. I'll be like, hold on a minute. Some ninjas just infiltrated the studio, and then you'll just hear like, like I just blew their brains out, and then I'd throw to an ad. More mature content in general, I think.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I mean, I really would love to have you shy away from like the supernatural and paranormal.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff.
I'm gonna have some of those people on.
You're gonna have guests.
Yeah, I'm gonna have guests. Some of those types of peoples, because the way I see it, I'll have some cranks on, some real cranks, and they'll replace a crank.
Ooh, I get it.
That was my big finish. Shit.
I have 2 requests, Tom.
I'll think about it, sure.
1, never mention my name on the show or anything about me on the show.
That's fine, yeah.
And stop calling me and my wife. Stop talking to my wife, Tom. And number 2, you have to make sure to keep the beloved segment from The Complete Guide to Everything, News Fighters. Our weekly Foo Fighters roundup. Or Foo Fighters News Roundup.
For anybody that doesn't know, we did an episode years ago about Foo Fighters. It was by far our least popular episode, and Tim has taken that as a cue to do a weekly segment about Foo Fighters news.
There's a lot going on in the world
not
of
a
Foo
lot
Fighters.
going on.
Hey, Dave and the crew are back out there with a new record and a new tour.
He's doing a reading tonight.
Yeah, that motherfucker, he's going up against us.
Yeah. That's probably why there are only like a few hundred people here rather than thousands.
Yeah.
Some of them, they became Foo Fighters fans because of News Fighters. But luckily it's a live show. We're not going to do a silly segment like that nobody likes in the first.
The fuck was that? I put together. Did you change? I put together a thing. It was the beginning of My Hero. It was the drums. It was doo, doo, doo.
Don't say too much of that. We're live streaming this, Tim, on YouTube, and I'm not looking to get copyright claims. So I put in some music that I don't know. It's pretty good. I think it's just as good as Foo Fighters, more or less.
You think that sounds like the Foo Fighters?
Yeah, it
Tom?
sounds like the Foo Fighters. Sure.
I don't know anything about the Foo Fighters. I spent a lot of time putting that together because then I put the news stuff at the end.
You put in what is that, like a new weekly news tonight, something like that, news night,
ABC News.
ABC News. Yeah, their little stinger at the
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
I left that in, but we couldn't put in the My Hero.
Such a luckily got another one. The hell is this?
Now reporting, George Stephanopoulos.
Imagine how funny that would have been if that was an actual Foo Fighters song going into that George Stephanopoulos thing. Would we have gotten, Marika, you know about the internet, would they have like stopped the stream if we played like
I don't
20 seconds of a Foo Fighters song?
I don't think they would have stopped it.
20 seconds, Tim. You're going to eat up that kind of valuable time on this
Yeah,
show?
it went like, chun, 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 chun. You know that song? Chun, chun,
Yeah,
chun, chun,
all
chun,
my
chun,
life.
chun, 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 chun,
Yeah,
chun, chun,
Tim, I'm
chun,
also
chun.
a fan of Foo Fighters.
And then it
Do you
did the-
remember the episode of our show called Foo Fighters that nobody liked? Marika, are there any name suggestions coming into the chat?
Yeah, there were a few.
All right.
We've got Little Stevie. Sorry, Lil Stevie.
Yeah, Little Stevie.
Of course, Tomothy.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, but then it's just, for all intents and purposes, that's Tom.
That's your name and your wife's name together? I don't know what that joke was supposed to imply. That your wife has the same name as me, or I'm your wife. I don't. Stricken from the record.
Of course, Sully.
Oh, Sully.
Holy shit.
You're gonna give that kid a lot to live up to if you name him Sully. That kid's gonna be the hijacking, not hijacking, but like. I don't mean to imply your son's gonna be hijacking planes,
That's fine.
but he might be
If
like.
he's hijacking them to then heroically land them
Well,
on
that's
the
what I'm
Hudson.
saying. I think he's gonna be like monkeying with them a bunch. You know, you're gonna see him by the landing gear with a big wrench, and then they're like, "Sir, the way onto the plane is this way." He's like, "Oh, I was just checking everything's all right."
Texting my wife about Sully.
What else, Marika?
Veal Daniels.
Veal?
Yeah, you said you wanted to raise your son like veal. Before you were expecting a child, you said if you ever had a child, you would raise them like veal in a tiny box.
Metaphorically. I just didn't want them
Which
to
is
know about
something a
fried food and
serial
television.
killer would say. Like,
You don't know anything about metaphors, Tom.
I abduct these women and I keep them in the room. Remember that movie?
News fighters. This week's Foo Fighters news. Hey, looks like Dave and the gang are making a guest appearance on the hit Apple TV show, The Morning Show. And what's this? Jennifer Aniston is a super fan who will never forget this day. Her mind is blown, as is all of ours. And also, this person said, I have a uterus, and if you support murdering babies, you're disgusting filth. That was just a comment on Jennifer Aniston's Instagram post.
I mean, the one above it, Kurt Cobain is rolling in his grave, isn't much better either. How does stuff like that wind up being the top comment?
They make points, not good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I would venture to guess that neither of them has ever murdered a baby or even performed an abortion, which I think is what they're getting at. Unless that's, I don't know, maybe that's the storyline of the episode. Jennifer Aniston's pregnant, and
All right, Tom, I'm going to stop you right there.
Dave Grohl.
Tom, News Fighters
What?
does not get into speculation like
All
this.
right.
Can't we just be happy for two 90s kids finally getting together?
Sure. I don't know if I would put it in a live show under the category news. I wouldn't do News Fighters to begin with, and then I certainly wouldn't be like, here's news.
Well,
some
you cut the
promotion.
fucking legs out from under News Fighters by taking out the music.
Tim,
The
that-
music cue was the hook.
That's not me. That's the YouTube overlords just telling me to do it.
Do you think Jennifer Aniston's character on Friends was a big Foo Fighters fan? Lines up.
No, I don't know. Maybe, sure. Why?
They came into existence at the same time, same year.
They were born at the same time, Jennifer Aniston and Dave Grohl?
Maybe. We have a
Wait, then
thing
what
up there.
do you mean maybe? Then what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Friends.
Uh-huh.
Debuted in 1994,
Uh-huh.
and that's when the first Foo Fighters record
That-
came out. And
That is not when the first Foo Fighters record came out.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
I
No.
was 12. Oh,
I don't know.
aged myself. I've been telling everybody I'm 33.
I don't know how old you were, but that's not when the first Foo Fighters album came out. So you're going to do the News Fighter segment and you don't even actually know anything?
I'll bet you $4,000.
No, because you make these bets and then not only do you
You
never
always
pay.
lose the bet,
No,
so
I
you don't know.
always
You
lose the
don't
bets.
pay
I'm not
me.
going to tell you, give me $4,000. You have a kid on the way, Sully
Oh, I can afford it. Oh.
Sully Daniels. I'm not going to take that food out of his mouth, that $4,000 caviar you're planning on
You
giving
don't want to
him.
give him $4,000 because you're a shitty fake uncle. Am I going to have to call you Uncle Tommy?
Yeah. And 4,000 because you're not actually going to take the bet. I would take that bet and then I don't know, send your kid to 4 years of college with that $4,000.
What college are you going to send him to?
Whatever college he gets into, the best college in the nation.
You can leave if you want. It's totally cool. I swear to God. I won't blame you. Tom won't blame you.
But
I had to Google Foo Fighters because I had to know.
did you find out when their first album came out?
I found out when they were born.
When was
Wait,
that?
hold on.
What? All right.
Are we betting or are we not?
Yeah, but bet something you're actually going to give me. Don't just bet $4,000 that you're not going to give me and I'm not going to ask for.
$5,000.
No, because it still has the same problems. Bet me something real, something that I can hold you to.
What do you want?
I want to name your baby. Or at the very least, I get your say with your wife. So it's still a 50-50 agreement, but we have to come. Did she say that's okay? Did she just text you and say, yeah, fine?
No, she said she doesn't hate Sully. And I already have a hat that says
Well,
Sully. She says you already have the hat. You got me a hat
Yeah.
of the movie Sully.
Yeah. Good thing she doesn't hate Sully. You'd have to, I don't know, start a new family. You'd have to run off if your wife hated Sully. How could you
That's
stay
true.
married?
That's a deal breaker. Anybody here who's engaged, make sure, when you have to go to like the priest ahead of your wedding? I
No.
didn't, but people that get married in the church.
Yeah.
And the priest has to like ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah, they're like, you didn't have sex, right?
Yeah.
You're sure? Let me read a list of things we consider sex. Touching wieners. Touching vaginas. Touching butts. Anyway, that's the stakes I will give you.
What do I get?
You can rename me. I don't know.
I get $5,000 from
All
you.
right, you get $5,000. I'll bet it because I know I'm right. What is your name?
Nicole.
That's not true. Sure, Nicole.
Nicole, can you tell us when the Foo Fighters formed?
1994.
Oh!
When did their album come out, though?
Yes. I don't know how early he got to it and edited it, but
Well, that's, yeah. If somebody said 1995 is
I'm
the
with
right
Nicole, even though
No.
she's using an alias.
answer. No, because we don't know when they formed. All we can go by
That's
is
what
when
the
the album
internet
came
does.
out.
Nicole knows.
Dave Grohl says so, I guess.
Dave Grohl
Dave
says
Grohl.
so.
Son of a bitch cut our legs out. Had a live show in New York City the same
Yeah.
night as us. He's probably playing an acoustic version of Everlong right now.
I'm saying I won that.
Okay, here's the thing.
Let's take an applause.
You can name my baby,
Uh-huh.
but you have to give me $5,000. We
Yeah.
both win.
Then
we
everybody
both
wins.
lose.
Okay, yeah, sure. And your wife will be happy with that, right?
Hey, we should go to the applause-o-meter.
Who says 1994?
Nicole, what the fuck?
Who says
Sitting on her hands.
1995? The applausometer doesn't lie, Tim. It's incapable of lying. It's a scientific instrument. We don't have it on the screen, but there's one over here.
We paced this show really bad. We have like 15 minutes left.
All right, I get to name your kid. Let's get into it. Tim, we're talking about the end of the world. You know about... All right, let me ask you something.
You can't name him Tom.
Fine.
All right.
Maybe. I have two questions. I wrote them down for you up top. No.
You get
Let me
nervous
start with
now?
this. This is this isn't the atomic clock. This is the
doomsday clock,
doomsday
yeah.
clock. Started by the scientists back in the 40s. This
What
tells
scientists?
the Atomic Scientists Association.
Believe science.
Exactly. That's
Right.
all you need to know. They keep a clock, how close we are to destruction. The furthest we've ever been to midnight, midnight is the end of the world, 17 minutes to midnight in 1991.
All right, that's fucked up. They started a clock.
In like the 40s. I think it was 46.
That's like a 24-hour clock,
No, 12-hour clock.
a 12-hour clock, and they're just like, and we're gonna make it the furthest it's ever gonna be is 12 minutes. That scale's all fucked up.
17 minutes.
17 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a stupid scale,
Okay.
right?
Are you a scientist or are you one of these anti-science
Oh, God,
people?
all right.
But currently, the doomsday clock is closer than it's ever been to midnight.
Yeah, baby.
100 seconds to midnight. Also, I think
That's
it's
more
bullshit.
than a minute and a half.
This is the doomsday clock. It's not a real clock. It's a quarter of a clock, and these things don't
That's
even
because
move.
all you need. You don't even need that. You don't even need a quarter of the clock.
Well, what if the bombs go off and they're like, no, it's 1 a.m. The doomsday is done.
It's fair.
Tim, there are a few different ways that I'd like to talk to you about very quickly about how the world could end. The first one, Y2K. Y2K could come back. Do you remember Y2K?
I remember Y2K. I remember
Did you
not
have
being...
this sticker on your Best Buy computer?
No, I didn't have a Best Buy computer.
Hmm.
We had better computers at my house.
Better than Best Buy? Tim is right in the name.
CompUSA.
Um,
Were you concerned about Y2K at the time?
I remember actually I was on a beach. Were you there
Yeah, I was there.
on New Year's Eve?
Yeah.
I was wondering who I kissed. And I remember there not being cell phone service at the beach, like to begin with, and thinking.
I didn't have a cell phone at the time.
I did. I was pretty.
You had a beeper watch, Tom. Remember when you bought a beeper watch and you weren't even a drug dealer?
Yeah, Tim, I do remember. And everybody was like, whoa.
What a cool
nice.
guy. Wow, he's in high school. He has a beeper and a goatee. And I can't get weed from him? This guy rules. This guy's got it all. He's got all the trappings of a scumbag without anything cool about him.
Tim, I have plenty of cool things about me. You already mentioned the goatee. But I remember at midnight thinking like, ooh, did everything turn off? We don't know.
Yeah.
And then it turned out nothing turned off. So it was fine.
We could see the lights. They stayed on.
The lights will. They were telling us like everything would stop working.
Yeah.
They didn't know how. Nobody knew how computers worked in 1999.
Enough people did to stave it off. Tom, are you afraid of the end of the world?
I don't know. Not really, because I think if the world ends, I'd actually be kind of, I don't know. I'd be of two minds about it. I'd be happy because they'd be like, cool. Everybody else is dead. I'm not going to be jealous.
That's the thing. The end of the world would have to be like, we all die and we all die at the same time and we all know we're about to die, right?
Right. Because then it's like, oh, my biggest concern with dying is jealousy.
Me too.
That,
This is a rare agreement, Tom.
yeah.
If I'm sitting on my deathbed dying,
Right.
like, I don't know, when I'm going to naturally die 100,
A
150
year
years
or
from
two
now.
from now, yeah.
And if I'm thinking like, oh, like, and I'm seeing like surrounded by loved ones and well-wishers and everybody, Sully's there.
Oh, come on. Hopefully Sully's not dead. Hopefully Sully doesn't
No,
die before Tim.
this is alive.
Oh,
this is
the whole
alive.
world.
Yeah, and I'll be like, oh, I'm happy for these people, but also it's kind of bullshit that they get to live and I don't get to live anymore. And then it's like, and then
So wait, when you're dying, Sully will appear to you alive? He can see ghosts?
no, he's there by my bedside,
Oh, by your
supporting
bedside.
me. Keep up, Tom. But there's
like,
those people that are in the room with me.
Don't worry, I'll raise little Sully as if he were my own.
And then there's other people that like maybe don't like me and they get to live too.
Yeah.
And then there's like absolute like just garbage people. Like Kato Kalin is gonna be alive and get to live more years eating a quarter pounder with cheese in some rich guy's pool house.
Cato's not a bad guy, Tim. He's a victim of circumstance.
He's like a Larry, isn't he?
That might be his birth name. I don't know. Yeah.
So like OJ's the asshole, like Mo.
Yeah, OJ's definitely a Mo. No. Now you're gonna
Curly?
have to say somebody dead is Curly, aren't you? In this metaphor.
I don't like Kato Kalin.
Well, that's ridiculous. So that's my first fear is just jealousy that like movies are gonna come out that like I'm not gonna be able to see because I'm dead. I guess like I'll miss my loved ones and whatever. But if the world ends and that's how I die, then it's also like oh, this is bullshit. I got ripped off. Everybody else got to, well, not everybody got to have a full life. You know, some people died horrifically. But it'd be like I was on my way to living a very full life, and now, you know, a meteor is hitting the earth or
That's
whatever.
fine. Go down together. What?
Let me ask you another question, and this might sound like a silly question, but I think you might agree with me. Do you ever think, like, there's a chance I might not die?
Yes, of course. Of course I think that.
Right? Because, yeah, everyone alive has died, but I've never been alive before. Maybe I'm the exception that proves the rule.
I don't think you are. I might be. Though.
Right. Do you also ever think
I'm
like
pissed off that, you know, Gen Z, they're going to get the death cure.
yeah, and we're gonna miss out.
Yeah, they're going to be like, you're too old to
Yeah,
get the shot.
back of the line, pops, for the death cure.
Yeah. That's okay. The world's going to burn. Good luck. Good luck, Gen Z, living to 400 while fighting over water. I'll be happily in the ground.
The next possible thing is volcanoes. All the volcanoes might erupt.
I was concerned, Tom. I was fucking concerned about that when I was 12. I don't care about volcanoes anymore.
right, great.
Do you care about volcanoes? I'm about as afraid of volcanoes as I am about tarantulas right now.
So very afraid? I mean, I don't understand what the...
Are you afraid of a tarantula?
Yeah, I'm afraid of a tarantula.
If it was disclosed that there was a tarantula in this room, would you be like...
Oh, yeah, be out of here. Why?
You could just see it would walk up. You'd
But
see
also,
it. You'd
if
stomp on
somebody-
it with your foot.
No, I'm not going to kill it. If somebody came up and they were like, we just have to tell everybody there's a tarantula, then that's a dangerous situation if they're interrupting live theater like this. They wouldn't do that unless it were a dire circumstance. Tim, have you ever heard of gray goo?
The vodka, right? Huh? See?
Is that a Grey Goose joke?
Yeah, I put it in all my martinis, is what I should have said. Here, say that again.
Have you ever heard of gray goo?
Yeah, sure, I put it in all of my martinis.
Is this what Tim before the show was like, this is weeks ago. He's like, I hope they serve martinis at the bar because I want to debut my new character, Timmy Martini. And then I told him, well, you could just bring a martini glass, I'm sure. He
It's
said,
not
no.
something Timmy Martini would do.
Yeah, that's low class. Timmy Martini wouldn't do that.
Look, come to future shows. One day, Timmy Martini will make an
Yeah.
appearance, and you'll all.
So Grey Goo is just like nanobots that self-replicate, and they just keep doing
This
it.
one's boring. Move on.
World War III, The Revenge.
Ooh.
The Soviet Union came back. They were pretending to be gone all along.
Okay, I'm afraid of nuclear war. I guess that's what we're saying.
Yeah, what about
Yeah.
this one? The Large Hadron Collider.
That's a thing, Tom.
Yeah.
I took notes about this one.
Okay. Yeah, of
Look
course
at
you
the
would.
Hadron Collider.
Pervert.
Is that a particle accelerator, Tom?
Yeah, it's a particle accelerator.
Some scientists believe a particle accelerator experiment could set off a chain reaction that would destroy the world. No, that's all I had. There was more. I didn't write it down. It was about black holes and
Well,
stuff, I think.
that's all that matters, Tim. As long as there was more, but you didn't write it down. But people think...
You know who thought this?
What's that?
You know who wrote about this a lot?
Who?
Particle accelerator mishaps. The Unabomber, your favorite guy.
It's not my If anybody, you look more like the Unabomber. You've told me in private that the Unabomber's not wrong about a lot of things.
All right, wait. That was before I read all there's a lot of anti-Semitic stuff in there.
Yeah, and also he was sending bombs to people.
Right. But his main thesis,
Uh-huh.
that technology was bad,
Right.
I think we've been proved correct on that, right?
Tim, we're live streaming. Look at the miracles of technology, Tim. We're making people happy around the world and in the International Space Station,
true.
I understand.
Too bad we don't have that video of them waving.
An asteroid hitting the Earth. That could happen. In that case, we're all just fucked.
Is one side of the Earth fucked? Isn't it going to be does it, hit at 8 p.m. or 6 a.m.?
Yeah. I think,
And the U.S. is going to find a way to make the world turn faster away from it.
looking at this collision that we
All
have
the
on
world's scientists are like, wow, weird, it hit directly into Africa. Weird, how did that happen? Destroyed the entire third world. Wow. Weird that we didn't engineer that.
Looking at this picture, I think we'd all be screwed. I think you'd be lucky to be in the blast radius, because you don't want to just be like somebody who starves to death later because it's night all the time. But night all the time, 24-hour parties. Marika, any new names coming in?
Yeah, there are some other ones. Alex, after Alex Trebek.
I actually considered that. But then Alex Jones, there's always an asshole.
What about Randy Newman Daniels?
It's not bad.
Good one.
Everybody in school, though, is going to be like, hey, Randy, are you Randy? In the future, I think
What?
Austin Powers is going to make a big comeback. It's going to be like a throwback thing. They're going to be like, Randy, are you Randy? Yeah, baby.
It's offensive, Tom.
William Sullivan, hyphenated.
I don't get it.
I think that's Sully's actual name, maybe? No, his
Unclear.
name's Chester, right?
Chesley. Ooh, Chesley's.
Chesley's a good name.
Also, there's both Not So Weird Al and Normal Al, if you prefer that version.
Yeah. There you go.
It's a good name.
Yeah. Your dad's name's Al, so I can't make
Not
fun of
Weird
it.
Al, but Al nonetheless.
Weirder
Anything
Al.
else going on in the chat? Anything fun? Any good combos?
Someone just said Newman's Own Daniels.
Okay, that's enough.
Tim, another thing that might happen, alien invasion of Earth. Now, when I put this slide together, it actually scared the shit out of me. Because I don't like looking at alien faces. Because here's the thing, when you look at an alien face, you go, oh boy, that'd be scary to see at the end of my bed at night. And then when you're in bed at night, you think, oh boy, you know, it'd be scary to see an alien head at the foot of my bed, and then you don't open your eyes. But you also don't sleep.
This didn't happen to you, did it?
This happens to me literally every night. So I replaced it with a friendlier alien, so I'm not freaked out.
I'm
during the
more
whole thing.
freaked out by Alf, and I'm an Alf fan.
My thing about if
I don't want anything talking. I don't want anything wisecracking at me.
my thing about aliens taking over the Earth is there's always like these like, oh, they've infiltrated government. They're you know, disguised reptilians and stuff. Why would aliens bother with that shit? They would come here, never say anything to us, and just like, I don't know, strip our skin off and barbecue us.
I don't have a counter to that, Tom. You've obviously thought about this a lot more than I have.
Well, I have in the notes somewhere that it was something like 4.5% of people would sell out the human race to aliens. Would you do that?
To save my life?
Yeah. See, but I don't really understand what selling out would mean.
Who took that poll?
I don't know if it's like, oh, if you were like an astronaut and they found you and they were like, hey, where's the rest of you? and if you were like, I'll never tell.
Yeah, what could you do to sell?
I don't know.
I would sell out. Like, if I could save 100 people,
Uh-huh.
I would be like, yeah, get everybody else.
What if you could save 10 people?
Or everybody dies?
Yeah, or everybody dies.
But they might not find everybody. I don't know the circumstances here. Yeah, 10 people. Guess what, Tom? You're not gonna make the list.
Solar flare. That's another way. The sun turns against us finally. Geomagnetic storm gamma ray bursts release as much energy in a few seconds as the sun will in 10 billion years. You know about this? You heard
I
about
zoned
this?
out when you were saying it.
There was actually a recent doomsday cult, Tim, that predicted, because Jupiter and Saturn were set to align on September 15th, that this would, what astrologers call the Great Conjunction, or in this case, the Christmas kiss. And they said the world was going to end. But then when it didn't end...
Did you think that the Christmas kiss was going to get a big laugh? But then you realized it didn't because everybody was tuning you out because
Yeah,
all the other words around it were really boring.
No, I think it's just because it's not Christmas time yet.
Yeah.
People don't know what I'm talking about. It didn't happen, and the leader, Paul Begley, said the Mayans are now reorganizing and saying this could certainly be the end of the world as we know it. It got like a bunch of steam on TikTok, but then I was looking at other TikTok predictions. There was a December 21st, 2020 prediction that on that day, all black people would get superpowers.
I was zoning out again. I got a text message. It
I
seemed
don't-
pretty problematic what you just said. Can we
It's
move
not
on to the thing?
problematic. It was a prediction. And I'm just saying, if I were them, I would keep that under my hat. I would
What's
keep that a
next?
secret. So it might have happened. Tim, I didn't even get to the Slap a Teacher challenge that's coming up this month on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, there's a Slap a Teacher challenge coming up. I got real into TikTok, Tim. A lot of predictions out there. Different people getting superpowers.
Different teachers
different
getting
people
slapped.
being slapping teachers.
They announced that beforehand. Like,
What?
there's going to be a thing. We're all going to slap teachers. We'll
Yeah,
be
you
back
got
here
to
in a
announce
month.
a challenge. How else are people going to pick up the challenge?
Yeah.
Tim, you pulled up the slide for a rogue black hole. That could happen. Who knows? And then climate change.
Good one.
Climate change, you gotta look out. All these little fuckers are gonna be on. They're on their
That's
way.
what pisses me off about climate change.
Yeah.
They're all like, oh, you know what climate change means? A bear's going to be on a piece of ice.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
like,
gonna come towards
I don't
you.
care. And then it's like, the thing is, it has a lot more to do with me than a bear on the piece of
Yeah,
ice.
they should put a picture of you on a piece of ice.
They should put a picture, Tom, get this.
Uh-huh.
A mirror on a piece of ice, because that's going to be each and every one of us on the piece of ice.
Tim, you put in these last slides. I don't know what they mean. This is one of them.
Mass insanity, Tom. We all get joker-fied. The World Health Organization estimates that 500 million people around the world suffer from a psychological disorder. Increasing human lifespans may actually intensify the problem because old people have more years to experience the loneliness and infirmity of old age.
See, you foresee a lot of elderly jokers coming about. Those elderly jokers are not going to be able to navigate those stairs, Tim. It's going to take care of itself. They're going to go to those stairs to do the dance. Stairs take care of it.
The devil breaks out of hell, kills us all, brings us all down to hell with
I
it.
mean, that's a very rational fear. Yeah. That would suck, huh?
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, oh, everybody else that died got to go to heaven, but I go to hell because I'm still here? Bullshit. Tim, I don't know if we have time for any of these other segments.
No, do you want to just do a lightning round? Go through the segments real
Sure.
quick. A particular type of asshole you didn't know existed until the New York Times pointed them out to you. This is going to be about a Peloton guy, I think?
Yeah, the CEO of Peloton.
Yeah, okay, we don't have time.
No, listen, I got to tell you two things about him. One,
We got like a minute and a half, Tom.
every day, he drinks 40 sips of water from his hand from the upstairs bathroom sink. He drinks until he feels like he's gonna throw up. That's how he got to where he got. Also, he has his girlfriend's ex-boyfriend over his house all the time, and they figure out politics.
The mundane bucket list. This is something where we come up with like mundane things that we wanted to do. One of mine was like I want to go in a sleeper car on a train.
I wanted to eat clam chowder.
Yeah. After the last year, all the things that I was coming up with that were mundane seemed like actual exciting things I want to do, like eat a meal in a restaurant. Tim and Tom solve your problems. Let's just listen to the theme song.
We don't have time.
Okay.
There's somebody they wrote in, they were talking with their husband the other day, and for some reason they did my impression, they said. Actually, my impression of Tom's impression of George Bush saying, well, which is actually
Ronald
my
Reagan,
Ronald
yeah.
Reagan. And then they followed up with my impression of Obama saying, oh, let me be clear. And now this person's husband thinks, Julie is her name, their husband thinks they're, like a virtuoso and they're out of impressions. So they want more impressions to do. I have a few. Ronald Reagan, well. Arnold Schwarzenegger, hello. And then Hugh Jackman, hello, mate.
All right. Anything else, Tom?
No, do we have any last minute submissions for the name?
Not really, no.
Nothing at all, Marika, huh?
No, there was a video submitted, and I put it in the shared keynote.
Perfect. Tim, whatever this video says, that's going to be the name of your child.
Test. Tim, T-Man, it's me, the K-Train, Kato Kalin. So, my friend, I know you lost a bet. Tim, get up, it's your song. You got that hipster
I
beard
hate Kato
and glasses, so you must be a cool
He's
dad.
roasting you.
Tom suggests to name him Tim or Jim or even Slim.
Yeah,
did
sure.
Or
mention all
maybe
that.
something with some soul. You know, maybe name him Grohl. You know, like
Tom.
that dude from the Foo Fighters.
He knows
But
about the
then
Foo Fighters.
we settled on just the name of the baby, Kato. Tim, congrats, my friend. And it's good to have a friend like Tom. Hey, wait a minute. Tom? Well, that would be a great name. I'll see you guys.
Man,
Wow.
Kato Kalin was watching the live stream the whole
What
time.
are the odds?
And then sang a song, and it seemed like maybe went on for so long that 4 minutes needed to be cut from his song.
Who knows? Who knows what happened? It's anybody's guess.
Well, anyway, if I can be real.
Do it quick.
Oh yeah, thanks for everybody for coming. I was going to do a heartfelt thing about
No,
the
you can do a
pandemic and
heartfelt.
stuff. No, that's fine. The staff here at Caveat is the greatest staff we've
Yes,
ever
thank you so much
worked
to
with.
Caveat for
They're
having
amazing.
us. The staff here has been fantastic. Thank you so
We've
much.
done a lot of shows. They put the staff at Radio City Music Hall, where we usually do our shows,
yeah.
to shame.
Yeah. Hey, and also anybody here or watching on the live stream, let's not tell Kato that we use this video for a performance.
Nobody here knows who Kato is. There's 4 people here who know who Kato Kalin is.
Well, just if you run into him.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming, and we love you very much.
We're going to go to Donnybrooks around the corner. It's a bar if people want to say hi afterwards. Thank
Hey,
you.
thank you so much to Marika.
Yeah.
Go see her show, the Headgum Podcast,
October 22nd.
the Gramercy Theater. She's going to be front and center. Oh, we should have. And for Marika again. Woo, good night.
I'm not looking at my old notebooks no more. Searching for